Good morning. It's a sunny day and I'm at Brixton and I'm here to catch a southeastern train. I'm going to show you where in London you can ride first class sort of for free.
It's quite often the case in London now that you can catch a suburban commuter train which has a first class area that's been what's known as declassified. That is, you can sit in the first class bit on a standard class ticket. And by ticket, we of course mean just using a regular Oyster card or contactless card to touch in.
Okay, so how does this work? So I admit that for this we're going to have to be slightly nerdy and look at some train numbers here. Bear with me. If we wind back to when this train arrived at Brixton, you'll see this. Now you'll see there that this type of train is a 465 and then a 3-digit number. Now if that 3-digit number starts with a 1 or a 2, it hasn't got a first class section in it. But if it starts with a 9, it has. And yet, on this line, this is the Brixton to Orpington line, there are no first class services in the timetable. So if a train with first class seats turns up, which by the way just gives you an armrest, a table and this little thing here, that's all you get, that's the only difference compared to standard class, then you can sit in first class when you haven't paid for a first class ticket. And there are other places in London where you can do this too. Let's go to a southern service.
For this to work, and yes, we'll use the number again, we jumped onto a 377 class of train.
So I'm now sat in first class on a southern train, but here's the thing with southern is that there's generally two types of units. These ones get used on long distance services which do have first class, and then they have local suburban metro services, but sometimes they use these trains on the local suburban metro services, and if they do, and a first class train comes in, it's quite likely that the train service you're on doesn't have first class. Admittedly though, all you get are just movable armrests and then these things, and then that's about it. So, how do you know if you can sit in first class?
So the simple way to tell is to look at the timetable. Now, paper copies can be hard to come by these days, but all the operators in London publish their timetables online as PDFs on their website. Go and download them. Have a look at the top of the column of the train you're travelling on, and if there is a 1 in a box shown, that's the symbol to denote that the service does have first class. However, if that symbol isn't there, the service does not have first class, but the train used may have a first class seating area on a non-first class service, and in that case, it's declassified and you can sit in it. This works for Southern, South Eastern, South Western Railway and GWR, but I went to travel on a Thameslink train next, which has its own first class anomaly.
We're on a Thameslink train where I have to explain the anomaly here. On Bedford to Brighton services, the first class at the front of the Thameslink trains are first class, but at the back, which is where I'm sat now, you can sit and it's declassified. However, on local Thameslink services, such as those that go to Sevenoaks or around the Southern Loop, both the first class in the front and the back are declassified, and you can sit here, and it means that you get a table, you get an armrest, and you get plug sockets, power sockets, again, which you don't get in standard class. The weird thing is that there's a brand new timetable starting at the end of May in 2018 for Thameslink, and we're actually unsure as to what other Thameslink services will and won't be declassified. But as a general rule, the back is always declassified, and you can sit there on a Thameslink train in first class.
And for my fourth attempt to ride first class for free, it was time to head out to the slightly unusual London Overground Emerson branch line. That's between Romford and Upminster. Except I went on the wrong day.
It's time to be nerdy with train numbers again. I've got the Emerson Park train that is between Romford and Upminster, and sometimes on this branch they run a class 317, and if they do, then there are seats in there which are standard class, but they're old first class seats, and if you sit in them at one end of the train, it feels like you're sitting in first class. Unfortunately, on the day that I've come to ride it, they're running this, which is a 315 instead. I told you we get geeky with the numbers, I'm sorry, and 315s don't have any first class, but for 317, this is technically another place in London where you can travel first class.